Have you been diagnosed with nasal polyps? Contact Prism Clinical Research for more information about our nasal polyp study.
The Wild begin the postseason with a 2-1 overtime loss to the St. Louis Blues. It's time now for Wild Breakaway, presented by Prism Research. With Wes Walz, I'm Audra Martin. 19,000 hockey fans came to St. Paul thinking they were going to watch the Blues and the Wild in Game 1, quickly realizing they actually had tickets to the Jake Allen show tonight. He was spectacular for the St. Louis Blues. Zach Parise was able to get past him with 22 seconds left on the clock to force overtime, but another valiant effort from Jake Allen in the overtime period, and it's a 2-1 loss from the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, it was. It was an outstanding performance by the Minnesota Wild. It was a dominant performance, offensively and defensively. As you mentioned, 52 shots on net for the Minnesota Wild against Jake Allen and almost 4 periods of hockey. I thought defensively the Minnesota Wild were absolutely outstanding here tonight, and going on into the playoffs, I really do think the way this Minnesota Wild team defended tonight was just as impressive as the fact that they got 52 shots on net. They held this St. Louis Blues team that was 15-2-2 in their last 19 games. Wasn't like they were just stumbling into the playoffs. This was a team that was on their game. The Wild held them to about 8 or 9 scoring chances through 4 periods. So there's a lot to pull out of this game as far as the positives if you're a Minnesota Wild fan.
Here's a look at tonight's final stats. You don't see this too often. The team outshooting their opponent 52-26, but unable to come up with the win tonight. Of course, 52 shots on net, a franchise record for the Minnesota Wild when it comes to postseason play. Big night on special teams, though, 4 for 4 on the penalty kill, including a huge kill late in overtime for the Minnesota Wild. Here's Bruce Boudreau following the loss tonight, giving his thoughts on his team's overall efforts.
We had 90-some shots at their net. You know, we had 52 shots on the net. I thought territorially we were pretty good. We played a lot of mistake-free. I think chances would probably be quite in our favor, but so that's what I'm taking out of it. I mean, but we're down 1-0, so it was a heck of a game, and we'll just get back to it tomorrow.
Here's a look at the remaining schedule of round 1. It rolls on Friday night, 6 o'clock. We get you started right here on Fox Sports North. Then Game 3 is a little afternoon of hockey, Sunday afternoon, 1:30, and Game 4 set for Wednesday night at 7:30 in St. Louis. Well, we've talked a lot about these two teams. They're two teams that know each other quite well. When it comes to Game 2, positives to take away from Game 1. Hopefully the Minnesota Wild will continue to bring more of what we saw to the table tonight, because that should, in most cases, equal a win. Just
of course,
I mean,
there's not a whole lot this team needs to fix. I mean, that was an outstanding performance. Minnesota Wild don't need to panic. Just if you're the Minnesota Wild and you're in that locker room, you need to understand, if you play the way you played tonight against the St. Louis Blues and continue to put that kind of effort, battle for loose pucks, a team effort of getting pucks in behind their defensemen, and the Wild made them turn and go back all night. I mean, they're going to have nightmares about how much they had to play in their own zone here tonight. But if the Wild continue to do that, good things will happen. If they start to do things individually because they think they want to be heroes and go end-to-end, and then they're going to allow the St. Louis Blues a better opportunity to win this series. So this is going to be a long series, folks. And you know, if Jake Allen steps up in a couple nights, well, actually tomorrow night, because we're after midnight, if he steps up with 52 shots, we'll tip our hat and we'll head off to St. Louis down 0-2. But I like our chances if we continue to play the way we did tonight.
It was a tough loss tonight, but there's plenty of playoff hockey still to be played. Hopefully this one swings in favor of the Minnesota Wild Friday night, right back here on Fox Sports North. We look forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, for Wes Walz, I'm Audra Martin. Thanks for joining us on Wild Breakaway, presented by Prism Research.